The 2022 Corvette C8 Stingray is a mid-engine sports car with 490 horsepower, a cross-plane V8 soundtrack, and a starting price that embarrasses everything in its performance class. GM spent decades waiting to build it. When it finally arrived, it was supposed to end conversations, not start new ones. Then, a four-door BMW sedan with rear seats and a boot showed up making 503 horsepower. And the C8 suddenly had a problem nobody at General Motors had prepared a press release for. This comparison makes no structural sense. One car is a dedicated two-seat mid-engine sports car built on an all-new platform that General Motors described as the most significant Corvette in 60 years. The other is a family performance sedan that fits 5 adults, carries airport luggage, and can be used for the school run without anyone raising an eyebrow. BMW's M division built something so capable, so fast, and so aggressively tuned that it forced its way into conversations with sports cars from a completely different category. And the C8 Stingray, which should be untouchable against a sedan, found itself on the back foot in ways its engineers didn't account for. The horsepower numbers are almost irrelevant. The story behind them isn't. When Chevrolet moved the Corvette's engine behind the driver for the first time in the car's history, the decision validated decades of internal arguments. Front-engine, rear-wheel drive had served the Corvette faithfully since 1953. It had produced legends, the C5 Z06, the C6 ZR1, the C7 Z06, with its 650 horsepower supercharged V8. But mid-engine geometry had always represented the next logical step, and the C8 finally took it. The 2022 Stingray carries the LT2, a 6.2-liter naturally aspirated V8, producing 490 horsepower and 630 Newton-meters of torque. Fit the performance exhaust, and that nudges to 495 horsepower and 637 Newton-meters. The 8-speed dual-clutch gearbox sits in a rear transaxle. The engine occupies the space directly behind the driver, and the resulting weight distribution, 40% front, 60% rear, gives the C8 the physics advantage of a proper sports car layout. BMW's G80 M3 competition arrived in 2021 with a grille that provoked strong opinions and an S58 engine that settled them quickly. The S58 is a 3.0-liter twin-turbo inline-six, producing 503 horsepower and 650 Newton-meters of torque, numbers that arrive with a broad, flat torque curve that hits from 2,650 revolutions per minute and stays aggressive through the entire rev range. The 8-speed M Steptronic gearbox fires shifts at a pace that the driver brain can barely process in Sport Plus mode. The M xDrive all-wheel drive system in the competition xDrive variant reads road conditions continuously, runs rear bias torque delivery as standard, and transfers load to the front axle only when the rear asks for help. In rear-wheel drive mode, available only in stable conditions, it hands everything to the back axle and removes the electronic safety margins entirely. 0 to 60 in competition xDrive trim, 3.1 seconds. In rear-wheel drive, 3.4 seconds. Against the C8 Z51's 2.9, the rear-wheel drive M3 loses the standing start by half a second. The xDrive M3 closes that to 2/10. 2/10. In a car with a back seat, a 480-liter boot, and a comfort suspension mode that makes motorway cruising genuinely civilized. The G80 M3 weighs 1,730 kilograms. Against the C8's 1,527 kilograms, that is a 203 kilogram penalty carried through every corner, every braking zone, every change of direction. On a drag strip from a standing start, the physics are clear. The C8 Z51's mid-engine traction advantage and 200 kilogram weight advantage make it faster off the line and through the quarter mile than either version of the M3 competition. The xDrive M3 closes the gap significantly. Rear-wheel drive M3 against the Z51 Stingray, the C8 wins more clearly. The lighter car, with better launch traction from a mid-engine layout and launch control on a dedicated sports car platform, is simply doing what it was designed to do. America wins the drag strip. The story doesn't end there. Stage 1 software on the S58 M3 pushes output past 550 horsepower with 0 hardware changes. Upgraded turbos and supporting hardware get it to 650, 700 at the wheels. The platform handles the power increase with composure, and the all-wheel drive system compounds the advantage at higher power levels. More power through 4 driven wheels rather than 2. The LT2 in the C8 Stingray responds strongly to supercharger conversions, the most popular modification path for C8 owners looking for significant gains. Supercharged C8 Stingray builds are producing 650 to 750 horsepower on reliable street setups. Two cars, two modification paths, both leading to different versions of the same arms race. GM built a sports car that redefined what an American performance icon could be. BMW built a sedan that refused to acknowledge the distinction between sports car and saloon. The C8 won on the drag strip. The M3 won everywhere else. And somehow, the four-door BMW with room for the family came out of this looking like the unreasonable one. The C8 Stingray is the base. What Chevrolet built on top of it, the Z06 with its flat plane crank, naturally aspirated 670 horsepower screamer, is a completely different conversation. That car didn't just challenge sedans, it challenged the 911 GT3. And watching a mid-engine American V8 take that fight to Stuttgart is something Sticky Wheels covers next.